Hello everyone, Mr. Love here, coming to you from the Diesel Lab. Today we're just going to do a real quick little video here just on the pro-torq nuts made by Stemco on our axle assembly here. So let's get right into it. Okay, so here we have our pro-torq nut here. So this pro-torq nut's made by Stemco. This is by far my favorite type of spindle nut here. I don't know how many hubs I've pulled off over the years and put back on, definitely thousands of them. This is the only one I've seen where it hasn't had a failure, where the nut started coming loose and the whole hub assembly started walking off of there. So we've explored the other nut styles before. This here, by far my favorite. The only issue we run into sometimes with this, a lot of times it's an oddball socket size. So this one here, it's actually a 4 3/8 8-point socket that you need for this size right here. Our local dealer couldn't get us the socket in time that we needed it, so we made this one out of pipe and flat steel. You can see we just welded the flat steel on here, made our own little 8-point socket out of a piece of pipe, made it so it goes in the 3/4 drive, just like our normal axle nut sockets. Other than that, it's really good. It has this little orange keeper in here that kind of keeps it locked into the little spindle assembly right there. To take that out, a lot of times you can just squeeze the little parts of it here with your fingers and pull it right out. If that doesn't work, you come in here with a screwdriver. They give you a nice little spot on each side where you come in with a screwdriver and actually pry it out there. So we got that popped out of there. A lot of times we can just take this off by hand now, especially if it's been out there running. This one here we just had apart quite a few times this week. I just tested 20 kids on this assembly here. But you see, whenever you have the proper end play in there, your nut's actually loose inside there. That's why it's really important that we have that keeper in there, because otherwise that nut's just going to walk right off on its own. Only hand tight inside there. Okay. Pull our nut off so you can take a better look at it here. Remember, it's fine thread on the spindle there, so it takes a little while to get it off here. So there you can take a better look at our nut right there. You can see it has little teeth there at the end of the little orange keeper. Those teeth lock into those teeth sitting in there to hold it in there. It also has this little tang right there that sits right in the end of the spindle there, right where that keyway spot is cut inside there. So that just sits in there. The little teeth hold it right into there so it can't walk anywhere on us. Very important we put that in there. Never want to forget that, or your whole wheel assembly is probably going to fall off going down the road. Be a bad day. So in our other videos, we showed pulling the hub off, pulling the wheel seal out, inspecting the bearings, all that stuff. For this video here, we're just going to reinstall it now and show you the proper torque specs and everything to reinstall this style right here. So this nut right here, it's a pro-torq nut, part number 4514973. They come in all different shapes and sizes, depending on our spindle size. This one here, this hub's off at International, but this spindle assembly, the whole differential here is off of Freightliner. So we're just going to put this back on there. So at this point, we would have pulled off the hub, we would have changed out the wheel seal, inspected our bearings, all that, started reassembling everything, make sure the bearings are nice lubricated. We would have squirted a little oil down inside our hub assembly here, just so there's some oil there when we first start up. Okay, we're going to screw this down. We can just get it started on there and get it kind of hand tight. Then what we want to do, we're going to get out our torque wrench, and our first torque spec is going to be 200 foot-pounds. So the way we found this, we just go off our Stemco wheel bearing adjustment sheet right here. As it all broke down here for all the different steps. Basically, we're just doing step 3 through 7 today here. We're going to go by our drive axle for our final back off there. We'll get to that in a few minutes here. But for right now, we're going to torque it to 200 foot-pounds. We're going to spin the hub assembly 1 full rotation, torque again to 200, spin again, torque again to 200, and then do another full rotation there. So we're going to torque to 200 3 times. Then we're going to back it off 1 full rotation. So we got our little torque wrench. We'll set it to 200 foot-pounds. Probably should have got out the digital one for this, but you guys don't have much going on. You watch me adjust this here. Okay, so we got it set to 200 foot-pounds. Make sure it's locked in there. Gonna put it on there. We'll run it down a little bit more, and we'll get ready to do the torque. Okay, 200 foot-pounds. We'll spin the hub 1 full rotation. Another 200 foot-pounds. 1 full rotation. Another 200 foot-pounds. 1 full rotation. Now we'll take our torque wrench off of there. We never want to reverse with our torque wrench. Can mess up our internals inside here. So we'll use our 3/4 drive and back it off now. So I'm back it off 1 full rotation of the nut. And 1 full rotation. And for our next step, it's going to be step 4 on our sheet. We're now going to torque it to 100 foot-pounds. So go by the sheet for this here because all different size nuts and stuff use different torque sequences. But if you ever get in a pinch, it's all pretty close to the same. Just your back offs will be a little bit different. Okay, we're set to 100. So what our first torque does for us, our 200 foot-pounds there, kind of gets everything set, puts our little preload on our bearings, make sure our wheel seal and everything's fully set, make sure everything's all the way up the spindle as far as it goes. Then we're going to back it off. Now we're going to torque it to 100 foot-pounds 3 times. Okay, so a lot easier this time. 100, full rotation, 100, full rotation, 100, full rotation. Okay. Now we're done with our torque wrench. We'll back that all the way off for the day. So we're done with that. We'll put it away. Okay, this is where our final back off is going to be now. So we go down here to step 4. We see what nut we have. We see what it goes on. So it could be on a trailer, could be on a steer axle, could be on a drive axle. This one here is on a drive axle, so we're going to back it off 1/8 of a turn. Okay, so 1/8 of a turn, so half of a quarter, right? Right there, 1/8 of a turn. Doesn't have to be exact because we're going to put a dial indicator on there now and check our end play. Okay, so we should be all done with everything. We'll put our little keeper on at this point, just because it's so easy to take back off if we need to. So make sure the little tangs are where they're supposed to be, locked in there. Make sure it's locked into the little grooves good. Just squeeze it, put it in, grab right a hold of the nut now. Should be able to rock it, but you shouldn't be able to unscrew it off of there. Again, make sure everything's nice set inside there. This nut is no good if it doesn't have that orange keeper in there. So we definitely don't want that popping out of it. Okay, so that looks good. Now we'll set up our dial indicator real quick. Always make sure you do this before you install the axle back in there or put your hubcap back on, whatever you're doing with it here. Okay, so here we just have our magnetic base one. We could use a clamp on one or anything like that, but for this, I love my magnetic base. Nice and easy. Just turn on the magnet, you stick it to where you need it, and put it right on the center of the spindle there. And you just go off the hub right there. Make sure everything's tightened down. Now we're just going to grab a hold of it. We're just going to rock it back and forth real nicely there. Try not to rotate it all. We got 2/1000ths of end play there. Our spec here, according to our sheet, is between 1 and 5/1000ths end play. So we're perfect right there. For the ones that haven't seen a dial indicator before, some thousandths of an inch on there. Just when we put it in there, it just moves around on us. So 1/1000th of an inch is just one of these little lines right here. So 1/1000th of an inch, not very far at all. Just basically just wiggling the needle on it there. Okay, so we're all set on there. Our hub spins nice and free on there. We know we had the proper end play because we just checked it's 2/1000ths. If we have it too tight on there, it's going to hurt our bearings in there. It's going to blue them, putting too much preload on there. As our hub and stuff heats up, those bearings will expand more and put even more pressure on there. If this nut is too loose on there, if we have too much end play, our wheel seal is going to start to leak. Our bearings will start to move from side to side. It'll destroy our spindle, destroy our bearings. We'll definitely have an oil leak that'll get all over our brake shoes and stuff here. But for the pro-torq nut there, that's all there is to it. Guys, have a great day.